With the arrival of the Google Pixel Watch, we thought it would be a good idea to compare it to the Apple Watch on a 5K run and see which one performs better. I'll take into consideration battery life, GPS data, and which one performed best during the run. Oh, and just for fun, I also used a Garmin Fenix 7 as the benchmark to see what data we should be seeing. All watches in this test were forced to use their own GPS connections. I'll also mainly be comparing the Pixel Watch and the Apple Watch, but will occasionally mention the Garmin as a reference. The Google Pixel Watch and Apple Watch were at 98% of battery just before the run. I set the Apple Watch going first and then the Pixel Watch just after. Also, for any runners out there, I used this Elixir running belt to hold my keys and phone, which I'd highly recommend. Now, I rarely go for a 5K run, but I do have a circuit that I know is exactly 5K. The Garmin that I use confirms this, and in the past when I've used the Apple Watch with my iPhone, it will also mark it off as 5K. So about half a mile in, I've already noticed one thing. The Google Pixel Watch always on display is just slightly dimmer than the Apple Watch. Not only this, but the amount of information that displayed on the watch was far less. Anyway, I carried on and got to the first mile. This is where the Garmin beeped. After a few more paces, I slowed down and looked at the watches. The Pixel Watch was on 1.07 miles, where the Apple Watch was on 1.04. So already there was a slight variance. It's also fair to say that the Garmin was a little bit further ahead at this point. So I soldiered on. My next update was at 2 miles, where the Garmin beeps. The Pixel Watch registered at 1.97, whereas the Apple Watch had 1.96, so slightly closer at this point. I will say at this point the heart rate was similar on both. However, I'm not really going to look into that too much as the Pixel Watch was part way up my arm compared to where it probably should be. Right, the next check-in was actually when I finished. The Garmin showed at this point that I completed the 5K run. However, both watches were still a little bit behind. The Pixel Watch had 3.07, whereas the Apple Watch had 3.04. Now, as I mentioned before, when I've ran this with my iPhone and Apple Watch, it will actually mark it off as 5K. Looking at the maps, starting off with the Garmin, you can see that it's fairly bang on with where I ran. A couple of places where it might have been a little off, but nothing major. It was also bang on when I made this 90-degree turn. Comparing this to the Apple Watch, you can see it cuts off most of that corner. This means over the run, the algorithm is cutting bits off your run, paired with the poorer GPS signal when using just the watch compared to using the phone as well. Looking at the Pixel Watch, you can see it still has cut off this from the corner, but slightly less. This means the algorithm is a little bit less aggressive. Before I get to how the batteries held up over the run, I wanted to give a little shout out to this Elixir Apple Watch band with these holes in. They genuinely helped make my arm less sweaty, and I've never realised how much they work until I had another watch on without them in. In the end, the Pixel Watch had 90% battery life left, where the Apple Watch had 86% battery left. However, I will just caveat this with the fact that the Apple Watch is a little bit older, being the Series 7, so the battery is probably a bit worn. Overall though, both watches lasted really well. And as they both have quick charge, you'll have no issues topping them up while you jump in the shower. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and click those links below for all your smartwatch accessory needs.